Happy New Year. Terrible year for myself and everybody. I watched 3 great films today. First one of Lenny Bruce. I think it was called Looking for Lenny. And it was marvelous. It was about a guy who spoke his mind, saw the world as it really is, made jokes about it, and spoke his mind in a way that got him in a lot of trouble. He fought it, kept at it, and it drove him crazy. Maybe he was crazy to begin with, but it drove him to the point of suicide. Now he died from a heroin overdose, but somebody starts doing a bunch of drugs like that, they're asking for death. I've been there. Not anymore. It's not my MO. I thought maybe it was. I thought maybe my role was to speak my mind and have fun and die, but I'm still here. I've been through a lot this year. I've had some crazy adventures. I went to jail, multiple lockups, extended periods of time in jail where they forced me to accept something that I didn't do. And have left me with a scar like the one above my fucking eye, my right eye. It's marked me. We've never had a comic like Lenny Bruce again. Many have emulated him, but his brashness and boldness and confidence has not been seen again since he passed. But he was on to something. And then I watched Wonder Woman 1984 the other day when it came out, and it was so great I wanted to watch the first one. So I started watching the first one today, and that story, even though it isn't in any formal mythological text, but something that resonated hard with me about Ares, the god of war. Pitting people against each other because they're jealous. And Wonder Woman was the savior. Because of course she is. Strong, truthful, righteous. I'm none of those things. If anything, I'm more closely related to the god of war. And then I was just rewatching Snowpiercer that deals with the class struggles of a fictional future society all aboard a train, and how a lot of people sacrifice for the comfort of a few. It's an analog to what we're currently living through. And in my mind, they got us right where they want us. The time is not now, but the time is soon. The time is nigh. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Everyone you meet knows something that you don't. We're all brothers, sisters, and the majority of us are on the same boat. I don't have the answers on a better system, but I am confident that this one is broken. You have politicians that are part of popularity contests that do everything they can and shake hands with everyone they can that has money and power and influence to keep their own power and benefit from it. And we all struggle, some more than others. And there will be people who say that they work harder for theirs. And sometimes that is true. But oftentimes they're given a leg up. Oftentimes they're like Donald Trump, whose daddy gave him $100 million to start a business in which he failed at. And then he used his influence and power that was handed to him to gain the most powerful position in the world. And then when he got in there, even though he wasn't part of the party that he became ruler of, he didn't take the opportunity to, he didn't have any ideals. He didn't have any ethics. And he just wanted to hold on to power. And he did it well. He played the system well. And he convinced a lot of people that he was their savior. But at the end of the day, he was a con man. And at the end of the day, I think we can all become con men when we aspire to that role and that position, because power corrupts, and absolute power in the office of the presidency is absolute power in a lot of ways. Leader of the free world. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And this year, if it's taught me anything, is that I am also susceptible to that. And if so facto, we all are. But I've reached my lowest of lows this year. And I've seen and I've met and I've talked to people who've been through so much worse than me and are part of systems that continue to drag them down, keep them low for the profit of a few. And the time is not now, but the time is nigh. Bill Nye, the science guy. Everyone you ever meet knows something that you do not. And we should be a part of a community. We are a community, even though it's a large community. We shouldn't accept the notion of the American dream where the reality is that you can work your fucking ass off at whatever you're handed or whatever you work yourself towards and still get nothing. And still have to ruin your business because the government tells you to. Because they say that a virus, it only kills less than 1% of the people that it infects. That is a reason that something that you worked your whole life towards is not viable. It's not an essential business. What is essential? That is subjective. That is not objective. And when there's no fucking evidence to say that certain businesses are not vital because the government says they're not, and because it scares you and pits you against yourself for a means of control. It's sick. We have a sickness affecting all of us. And I, for one, am sick of it. I'm sick of the sickness. I'm trying to lay low right now. Hunkered down after everything I've been through this year, after all the backlash that I've gotten from speaking out about certain things, certain political parties, certain businesses that have left me with everyone leaving me, except for a few family members. But I learned a great lesson about who will stick by me and how superficial my friendships were. But it also left me at a point where I don't care, where I have nothing to lose anymore. I've lost everything except for my dog. And if they take my dog away from me, then I'll John Wick everyone that has caused me this situation. I will, unless they fucking kill me, I will John Wick everyone that takes my dog away from me. Because she is the sweetest, best thing that I have in this world right now. We're all in a bad spot. 2021 is a time for new beginnings, but it's going to be more of the same for a while. There's going to be very influential institutions and businesses that control what we see and hear. and tell us what to do. And we can be sheeple, that go along with everybody else and don't critically think for ourselves because we're scared. Or we can step back and realize who the real enemy is. And it is the people in charge of this fucked up system that we're all a part of. I finished reading Homo Sapiens this year. It took me a while. It's not an easy read. And I had to reread a lot of parts of it. But anthropology is a strong science. And it says a lot about why we think and act the way that we do. And one of its revelations is that we're meant to be in smaller communities where we can trust people and fend for each other, protect each other, take care of each other. And those groups, maybe 100, 150 people. If it gets any larger than that, we have to create bureaucracies. And when you're dealing with a country of 350, close to 400 million people, or millions of other people in other countries, or if you talk about the world, it's unfathomable. And you create these regulations and bureaucracies to try and control people for political will, political power. Now, I don't claim to know the answer to how to do that. I never will. But what I do know is that the people who work their way up through these systems are in it for the wrong reasons. Almost all of them. Very few people are of righteous, ethical, and moral means. And even once you get part of the system, then you need to bend some of your ideologies just to stay in power. And it's sick. And no one person is going to fix this. We could have elected Jesus Christ on November, and he alone would not have been able to fix what we're in right now, because he would have had to get the approval of other houses of government. And we're so tribal right now that the Republicans and the Democrats would have painted him as an enemy to the system. Probably labeled him something awful, to where everyone would have done whatever they could to distance themselves from him. So we're beyond the breaking point. And we need to take a hard look at ourselves and our society and talk to people, socially distanced, of course, with masks on if we're inside. But we need to talk to people and get a feel about how everyone feels about everything that's been going on this year and for the last few decades. If we just ignore it, avoid it, distract ourselves with social media and TV programs, we're part of the problem. One day this will all come to fruition. can either be the frog in the pot that is boiling and just die, thinking that the water's just getting warmer and it's okay. Or we can fucking hop out and say, no, we're not gonna stand for this anymore. This is bullshit. We need something different. We need someone different. We need to follow a path that will help solve so many issues. I'm not saying that capitalism is the enemy, because it does a lot to drive people to do good in a lot of ways. But it's when it's unfettered, which it has become, and when this corporate democracy that we're in now is allowed to lobby their own laws to save themselves, to give themselves more profit for the top 1%. And then when things are failing because of the coronavirus, the government pays the companies to bail themselves out at the expense of all of us. We should all be really upset about that. I don't care who you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent, small business owners especially, you should be fucking pissed. Workers especially, you should be fucking pissed. People collecting unemployment, you should be fucking pissed. There should be no reason that you're sitting at home feeling unaccomplished and worthless and like you don't mean anything because you have value to give and all they want you to do is sit at home and collect a paycheck from the government. I've been doing that for months now and it fucking sucks. It's a terrible feeling. Yes, I would like to start my own business, but I have no capital to do it. Yes, I would like to work, and I am. I just got a job. I'm working a job that is not what I want to do, but I'm going to do it to my best ability and then some. Because that's what we all want. We want to provide. We all want to contribute. We're part of a fucking tribe. Even though it's a big one at this point. But we all, nobody wants to sit back and just fucking collect money. We need welfare for people who are in bad situations, but nobody wants to be in that for too long. I know it. I've been there. It feels like shit. Collecting money, you just feel dirty. Like I'm collecting money for doing nothing. And it's not even ever enough money to really get you by, especially if you live in a city like I was living in. I couldn't pay rent. I was taking advantage of too many systems at once, and it made me feel shitty. I was not paying rent and collecting free money and not doing anything. And it made me worse. I couldn't even pursue creative projects that I wanted to pursue because I felt so bad about doing nothing and getting paid to go eat. And then not paying rent. It's just shitty. And now that I'm in a new spot, I'm going to start making, okay money. Nothing like I was making before. But enough to survive and hopefully save a little bit. Because ultimately now, I've switched what my goals are. And my goal now is to survive, work hard, and save enough to get some kind of cushion to when shit hits the fan that I can get away from the craziness. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get there. I don't know how long this timeline is on when shit's going to hit the fan. But the way things are going, probably won't be, too much longer. So I'm going to stay low. I'm going to work hard. And one thing I've noticed is going to work and doing, task-driven work, whether it be monotonous or project-driven, something where you're contributing to a corporation or a company. It's not creative in any way, but it gives me some kind of structure and feeling of wellness, and the fact that I'm accomplishing tasks to make me want to accomplish more tasks. When I was getting paid to do nothing, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't even want to look at myself in the fucking mirror. I didn't even want to clean myself. I barely wanted to go to bed. And when I did go to bed, I didn't want to wake up. And now I need to wake up to go to work. And then I'm so tired after work that I need to go to bed and wake up for work early the next day. It's what we need. Physical, healthy eating, work. These are the things we need. And I know from experience that the people in higher positions that I've worked for before have not always gotten there because they were smarter or harder workers. It was out of luck, or, the fact that they had some generational wealth to get them this higher leg up, to get them in these top spots early on, and then worked their way up from a better vantage point than everybody else. And these corporate ladder systems that are fucking bullshit. The bigger a company becomes, the less it cares about their workers. I don't care what the business is. I'm sure whenever I release this, if it's not already being released right now, they'll probably come for me and arrest me again because I'm disrupting everybody too much. And again, I just don't give a fuck, man. I see the writing on the wall. I see what's happening. And whether I'm in jail or working a shitty job and hoping to save up enough to get the fuck out of my shitty existence right now, it's one and the same, because either way is going to collapse. They're not going to be able to support people in prison. They're not going to be able to feed people in prison if they're not getting enough taxes to pay for the fucking corporate prison system that they've enacted. It's all bullshit. And anybody who thinks that I'm just an anarchist and wanting to tear down a system, it's tearing itself down. I'm just a symptom of a problem. And if you can't see the problem, then you're blind, or you're just too focused on other things in your own personal life, or too focused on things that the media tells you to focus on, that you're blind to what the fuck is going on. I have no great wisdom about what we can do to fix this at this point, but I just want people to be aware of what the fuck is going on. And at this point, all I can see is we're all fucked. And I'm gonna do what I can to take care of myself, and I suggest you do the same. I love you all. Happy New Year.